So, in the part one of the poem Photographing Mother, we already talked about, the kind of showy place that the uh, photo studio is. And we also said things about, the photographer being unaware of the setting and the life of Barelli. Right. So now the poet turns back and he sees Ba, and he's looking at whether she can really smile for the picture, because he knows that her life has been full of thankless drudgery. She was widowed young. She had been a dependent in her in-laws house, and she was a mother of four children, and it is their future only that appeased all her desires, right? So her entire life had been devoted to her children, and this had been a thankless job. Like for all mothers, this had been a mostly thankless job. She had been, she had been nurtured by neglect, which is again an ironic phrase, because she's always nurtured all of her children. She's always nurtured the home, this squalid home, this small dirty house that she was a part of. So nothing has been really fancy in her life, right? And she's managed all of that. She's never been thanked, and now no one heard her. She listened to them all. At last, her flattened body, breeding disease, nurtured by neglect, grew past cure. So now the woman who was always unheard, who was always non thanked, her flattened body in her old age, her thin body is now a bed of diseases, and there is no cure. No cure to her disease, no cure to her pain and grief and her lifelong suffering. So, nurtured by neglect, her body that was completely neglected, so she paid no attention to herself, and neither did anyone else, and therefore it is now past cure. Now, in the third part of the poem, this is like the third part of the poem, again, a sort of a scene change where the poet is reflecting now on the children's response to the mother, right? So we rained compassion down on her and laughed, then to please her any every way. So now, after her body has become, after her heart has become, absolutely irreparable, now the children shower all their love and compassion on her so as to please her. Half love, half duty led us on. So it is not entirely the love for the mother, it is also the sense of duty. We took mother, so what did they do really? In order to please the mother, in order to, do their bit for her now, after ignoring her for her entire life, is that they took the mother to doctors in town, showed her the city, took her to city, palaces, houses, parks, cinemas, theaters, rides in house, drawn buggies. She had them all. So they're looking for her desires now. They're trying to make her happy now by making her visit parks and museums and all sorts of things. Sorry, parks and cinemas and all sorts of things. But as we know that she's become past cure, sensing impending doom, right? Impending doom meaning the sensing that the children have sensed that the mother is now about to die, right? Impending doom that she's about to die. And as a memorial to our love or selfishness. So, or selfishness is put in the bracket. So, this is another afterthought. This is another second thought. This is like this inner feeling that the poet has, that it is not their love but their selfishness really that is propelling them, that is driving them to, in this time of doom, to get the mother. We took her for a final photograph, right? So to get her photographed in this end time, right, after which they wouldn't have an opportunity, and then they would also need a photograph of the mother. So they took her to a final photograph. Unheeded by husbands, sons, and in laws, array all the world, poor neglected mother. So the poet is again emphasizing that nobody gave her any sort of attention, be it her husband, be it her sons, be it her in laws. In fact, the entire world, right? Poor neglected mother sat waiting for that picture as that sugary stranger. Now, again, this sugary stranger is the sweet tongued photographer. Sugary again because he is sweet to the mother, right? Sweet tongued, sugary stranger asked her just to smile. So now the photographer also is asking something out of her, completely unaware and completely unheeding all her life, right? And neglecting her pain, just as everybody else did. So, stranger asked her to just to smile. And then the last portion of the poem, I turning to remark how mother smiled, saw two ripe tears there frozen in her eyes. Angrily he shouted, my plate is ruined. So now what has happened is that the poet is again turning to remark on how mother smiled, right? So to see whether she smiles or not, and he sees that she does not really smile, but instead she has two ripe tears in her eyes that are frozen, right? So she's not even able to cry, she's not even able to smile for a photograph, although all of us would smile for a photograph, right? So she's not even able to collect herself enough so that she could collect just a smile for a photograph. She's not even, her grief is so past cure that she cannot even smile for a photograph now. And the sweet tongued, sugary photographer now is all angry, and he shouts that you've ruined my plate. My plate is ruined. And then the final remark by the poet says, plate? What plate? Her life lay round in ruins. Hari Hari. So we see that these phrases come up, Are, Ba, Hari Hari, untranslated in the poem. And this is the poet, really remorsing, regretting the kind of behavior that they've shown to their mother. And he realizes that this sugar tongued photographer is talking about, this life, about his plate being ruined, completely unaware of the entire life of Ba that laid in ruins, right? So this is our poem, and we'll look at the reading comprehension questions now. Okay, yeah, thank you so much. Bye.